Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Hello, everyone. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. You found Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FG, as you just heard. We're here with you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We go about an hour each day. Hopefully you enjoy what you hear here on the show. With you watch on the show, listen on the show. We have me writing solo on Mondays. I sit here and I review all the Sunday game action in the NFL for an hour, just blast through the pros and cons of the game on both sides for an hour. But Tuesday through Friday, it's one of us hosting and one of the experts at FantasyGuru.com. So the schedule goes like this: 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday through Friday. We have on Tuesdays Armando Marsal, Wednesdays Rich Mileto, Thursdays Tyler Beaker, and today's a Friday, so we'll be talking to Russell Clay. I host Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Justin Fensterman hosts Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm with Jeff Mann. So you watch this show, you take an hour break, then you head over to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, to hear Jeff's show, and I'm with him Wednesdays. That's why I'm not here. Let me throw up on the screen what we're going to talk about today, and I'm just going to dive into a topic that is really, it needs to be discussed directly because we're getting into a zone where everyone's getting frustrated. The users at FantasyGuru.com are getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. Other analysts at FG are getting frustrated. So we're going to talk about the situation here, so at least I can point everyone to this discussion when they have this question or debate. We're going to talk about setting a depth chart, which I have always been reluctant to do, but now I see why Jeff Mans talks about doing it. We're going to talk about it here in a few minutes. We're also going to review Thursday Night Football. We're going to talk a little bit real quickly about the ADP for baseball. How did we do in baseball? You can see the link there on the screen. You can find it in the description below. How did the top 50 in ADP turn out in 2025? And then in about 25 or so minutes, we'll talk with Russell Clay. We'll talk Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, the backfield of the Bengals, the backfield of the Chargers, Worthy, Higgins, Harrison, Collins, and what are his thoughts on the tight end position in general? I talked about it yesterday on episode 504. If you didn't see that, check it out. But we'll get his thoughts on this in a moment, 25 minutes or so from now. And again, you can watch us live or on demand in 3 spots: youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite. Leave comments and questions if you're watching live or watch on demand at any point. And then 2 other places to listen to the show in a podcast. Go to fantasyguru.com, click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. You can find this show and the other podcasts. All the past episodes are there. Or you can also just type in Fantasy Sports Daily to where you listen to your podcasts. Okay, what is a depth chart? Why is it important? What are we talking about here? I'm going to say something that I typed in the Discord room over at fantasyguru.com. By the way, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. If you have any questions about anything, send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Send that email to support@fantasyguru.com. I'm going to quote myself, because I'm a narcissist, about something that I just wrote in the Discord over at fantasyguru.com. And here it is. Quote, "No one should play in 2 wide receiver leagues. They are for unserious people," unquote. Now, I know a lot of the big box stores, 2 wide receivers is the default. I understand that. I get it. You can go in there and change it. You don't have to join a league, even at the big box stores that only start 2 wide receivers. You can change it to 3. You can change it to 4. You can do these things. 2 wide receiver leagues are for unserious people. You should have 3 wide receiver slots and at least 1 flex spot where you can play a wide receiver. So you should have the opportunity to play at least 4 wide receivers each week. And you should have 3 starting wide receiver spots. Why? Because the base product in the NFL for NFL teams is the 3 wide receiver set. It's not 1976 where we have 2 wide receiver sets. The base set in the NFL, across the NFL, is 3 wide receiver sets. So by playing in a 2 wide receiver set versus a 3, you're not even playing what's actually happening on the field. That's point number 1. Point number 2, most leagues are half point or full point PPR. And the whole purpose of a half point or full point PPR versus a non-PPR is rewarding the guys that catch passes but don't necessarily get in the end zone. If you're only starting 2 guys, who cares? Doesn't matter. All you're really hunting for is a touchdown. 3, you're listening to this show. You listen on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. You subscribe to fantasyguru.com. You are a serious person. You listening, watching, you're a serious person. Don't play in an unserious setup. The shallower a league is, A, the more difficult it is to set your starting lineup, and we'll get to that in a second. And B, the easier it is for your competition to catch you. Playing in a 2 wide receiver league might sound like fun. It's awful. And if you're in a 10-team 2 wide receiver league, and I'm not trying to be an ass, I don't even know why you're playing. And I say that in all truthfulness, because you're in a scenario where you can't win. Every team in a 10-team league with 2 wide receivers, every team's got an all-star lineup. Every team's got 3-4 receivers that are top 35. Every team does. It's just math. It's just the numbers. There's 10 teams. There's 35 wide receivers. Everyone's got 3.5 top 35 wide receivers. It's math. Don't play 10-team 2 wide receiver leagues ever again. Don't ever do it. And if you're doing it, to be honest, you don't need help with advice. Just use the rankings. You don't need to ask anyone in the Discord just use the rankings. Benching, and I say this over and over again, I've been posting a big paragraph. Benching top 25 running backs and wide receivers each week is losing. If you are doing that, and everyone is doing that, and I applaud people that built good teams. I applaud people that drafted well. I applaud people that use the waiver wire well, and I applaud people that use the trade market well. And some of you did that, and you built a juggernaut, and that's why we'll talk about the depth chart in a moment. But really, all you're doing is making this more difficult on yourself. You're making it frustrating to all of us. You should never, ever. I had someone with Deebo Samuel this morning asking me a question. You really want me to bench Deebo Samuel? I said, no, I would never bench Deebo Samuel ever in my life. If I had him on my team, would I ever bench him? But you got 4 top 20 players. He's the lowest ranked guy. You bench him. Like, you can't play all 3 because you're in a 2 wide receiver league. That's what you get. Understand, and I said this repeatedly, the difference between wide receiver 21 and 23, there is no difference. The difference between running back 17 and 19, there is no difference. This week it's going to be 17 and 19. Next week it's going to be 19 and 17. The week after that it's going to be 19 and 17. The week after that it's going to be 17 and 19. The answer is both. It's not either or. So if you're in a scenario where you're forced to do the either or thing, and it seems like 2/3 of the people at Fantasy Guru are, for however they got there, that's how you're there. You either put a great team together, you drafted great, you traded great, you waiver wired great, or you're in some asinine league setup from 1982. Whatever it might be, you're in a scenario where I'm half of the stardom syndrome questions I get, literally half of them I get, include me telling someone to bench a top 20 running back or wide receiver. What's the point? But Ray, I do have one of these great teams. I do. Okay. I am unfortunately in a 10-team 2 wide receiver league. Okay. How do you handle it? You set a depth chart. What does that mean? I don't ever set a depth chart because I'm in 12, 14 team leagues. We have 6, 8, 10 people benches. We have three wide receivers starting. We have multiple flexes starting. I don't have a need for a depth chart because I know exactly who I'm starting every week. Right? You all with your, I have 6 top 25 guys. Which 2 do I bench? You don't know who to start. So here's what you do. You set a depth chart and you don't change. And this is what Jeff Mann says on his show all the time. Again, 2 to 5 Eastern, Monday through Friday on Sirius XM. I am telling you right here on this show right now, if you're one of these people that continually is asking, do I bench A.J. Brown or Stephon Diggs? Do I bench DeAndre Swift or Kenneth Walker? If you're one of those people, and again, half the people seem to be in Discord. If you're one of these people, here's what you do. You set a depth chart. You say to yourself, Diggs is better than Brown. Brown is better than Diggs. You say to yourself, Swift is better than Walker. Walker is better than Swift. And then you just put them in your lineup and you never change. You never change your lineup ever. Ray, what about the matchups? You never change your lineup ever. There is no difference between 17 and 19 long term. There's no difference. There's no difference between 21 and 23 long term. No difference. You can't, just we talked about on the show, don't stream quarterbacks. We talked about on the show yesterday, don't stream tight ends. How did the Theo Johnson thing go? Okay, we talk about not streaming tight ends and quarterbacks. You have to look at your team and running back and wide receiver. If you're one of these people that have this great team, you have to look at it the same way. You have to. Someone wrote this. This is an actual quote from the Discord room yesterday. I think it was last night. London, Ted McMillan, Sutton, and A.J. Brown. Pick 3.5 point PPR. So London, wide receiver 1, McMillan, wide receiver 2, Sutton, wide receiver 2, Brown, wide receiver 2. So again, this is a scenario where you have 4 top 20 wide receivers, and this user is saying, I need to pick 3 and sit 1. And here's the next sentence the user wrote. I get it wrong every week. Of course you get it wrong every week because they're all must starts. It's not possible for me personally to have 4 top 20 wide receivers in any of my leagues. Because again, I'm in deeper leagues, I'm in competitive leagues. Okay. If you are like this user, I know many of you listening are, many of you in the Discord, because I see it every day, you have to set your starting lineup. And what this means is you say to yourself, I'm starting Sutton, Brown, and London every week, and McMillan's out. If you don't like A.J. Brown and his 14-point game last night, then you say to yourself, I'm starting London, Sutton, McMillan every week, and Brown is out. You have to decide which of the 3, 4 you're going to use, and you just use them. You don't change. Ray, matchups. I don't care about matchups. You're missing the point. The answer is McMillan, London, Sutton, and Brown never, ever, ever sit on your bench. They don't. Ever. Deebo Samuel, never on your bench unless he's hurt. Ever. But if you're in a scenario where you have to do this, sit 1 or 2 of these guys each week, you have to set your depth chart, make your decisions, and just let it go. Number 1, you're going to give yourself an ulcer each week. Number 2, you're going to give the experts over at fantasyguru.com an ulcer because we're all dying here. You know. Number 3, if you literally have this question, I'm considering, just to put it out there, not answering start and sit-in questions anymore. Because we have rankings. That's what they're for, right? And I've tried to humor people and stuff with that, but I'm getting to the point where I'm only going to answer roster composition, trade questions, waiver wire questions, strategy questions. I don't know if I'm going to answer start and sit-in starting next week because we have rankings. That's exactly what they're for. And if everyone's going to persist on this, I've got 4 of the top 14 guys. Who do I sit? Well, I'm just going to say check the rankings because we're not gaining anything here. You need to set a depth chart. And it doesn't matter what the matchups are. It doesn't matter if Brown's got a better matchup than McMillan this week. It doesn't matter. Me, if this is my team, I'm going Sutton, London, Brown every single week. And Tedderell McMillan is the best wide receiver 4 in the league. He's the guy I never play, and that's fine. I've got him at depth in case there's a bye week or an injury. That's how I would do it. And I'm being totally serious. People ask me all the time, would you play A.J. Brown? Yes. Are you starting A.J. Brown? Yes. Would you start A.J. Brown? Yes. Would you start? If I have A.J. Brown and I do, he's never coming out of my lineup ever. Period. Jeff Manz has said the exact same thing 10 times on his show. Never coming out of the lineup. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But don't play McMillan this week and Brown next week and Brown the following week and McMillan the week after that. Set your depth chart. And again, I'm hot this morning because for 2 days, last night I had 50 questions where it was bench a top 20 running back or top 20 wide receiver. And it's like, we can't win in this scenario. So to save my sanity and your sanity, more importantly, set a depth chart and just let it go. So if you want to ask, hey, Ray, I have these 4 receivers I can only play 3 weeks. How would you set your depth chart? I would say, okay, that's a totally fair question. I'm going to go London, Sutton, and Brown every week, and McMillan's never going to play. Unless there's an injury or a bye. So hopefully that makes sense because, again, I'm so happy that all of you have great teams. That means you're drafting well. We're giving good advice. You're listening to it. It means it's working. The problem is the week-to-week thing where you're messing it up. You're making it complicated. You're making it difficult. You should have one decision. Really? When there's bye weeks, maybe 2. When there's bye weeks, you should have maybe 2 decisions each week. When there's no bye weeks, you should probably have 1. And if you're the person that's changing 4 guys in your lineup every week, and I know people do this, you're not doing it right, and you're not going to win long term. We're not always right on player A or player B or player C or player D. No one is. But you got to get the basics right, and the basics here, setting a depth chart and stop funny daddling, fingering your lineup, whatever you want to say. I can't think of a term. It's 9:15 in the morning. Set your lineup and forget it. The less monkeying around with your starting lineup you do on a weekly basis, the better. Period. It's just the way it is. Let's see here. I'm just seeing if anyone left any comments here. Kicker, Philly fans. Yeah, that was tough for the Phillies last night. Ryan Kickering. Ooh, rough way. Hopefully people don't remember that. Yeah, well, here's John. The issue is people like what they're used to. To get people in a 14-team league or to change rules, people get scared that it's harder. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're probably right. At the same time, if I play my 15-year-old nephew in basketball, I'm going to beat him, let's say 9 out of 10 times. Maybe he beats me once. Maybe. Probably it's 10 out of 10. I'm going to beat him every single time. I'm going to block every shot he takes. He's not, I'm 7 inches taller. I've got 8-inch longer arms. He's got no shot. I'll back him in. I'll shoot 5-footers the whole time. I'll beat him every time. If I played a 6'4" high school all-star, he's going to beat me 9 out of 10 times. Right? What's the point of me whooping down on my nephew who I can beat every time? What's the point? What's the point about all of you whooping down on people in 10-team leagues with people who don't care? Again, unserious people. What's the point of that? Do you really feel good winning a championship because everyone else in your league's a buffoon? I would rather finish 3rd in a hard league. I'd rather finish 5th in a hard league than win a league that doesn't matter. Join some random Yahoo public league and win the league. Who cares? Doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not saying you're wrong, John, because I think you are right. But again, serious people are those of you listening to the show, subscribing to SiriusXM, subscribing to FantasyGuru.com. You're the serious people. Be in a serious league. To me, that's just the way I do it. All right. This is a good one, too. Rickety Cricket or Pepe Sylvia. I'm going to go with the person who's not real versus the former priest. That's how I'd answer that one. That's It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Okay, so there is that. Now everyone can go and listen to that. Let's do a little Thursday night football. The Giants 34-17 over the Eagles. Whoa. Woo! Eagles fall to 4-2. Giants improve to 2-4. Saquon Barkley has run for 63 yards in one game this season. Why is 63 important? Last year he averaged 125. He has had one single game this year where he's run for as many yards as he averaged last season. A lot of people are upset with A.J. Brown. I get it. Totally understand that. Where are the people upset with Saquon Barkley? He ran for 58 yards last night. 4.8 yards a carry. He had 14 touches last night for 65 yards. 68 yards, whatever. Saquon Barkley. Oof. Jalen Hurts threw for 283, a touchdown and an interception. It was his first pick of the season, if I'm not mistaken. He also had a rushing touchdown, so he was fine. Speaking of A.J. Brown, saw 9 targets. He's continuing to be the leader at the wide receiver position in targets. 9 targets a week totally works. 6 catches a week totally works. 80 yards every week totally works. He didn't get in the end zone, but 6 for 80, that's a good game. It's 14 points. PPR, we're good. Non-PPR, it's 8. It works. So while Brown didn't have that big game we were hoping for last night, he was totally fine. If you're disappointed in Brown last night, I mean, at least you didn't start Mr. Theo Johnson. We'll talk about him in a second. Devonta Smith, 4 catches for 49 yards. He is the number 2 to Brown. He's the less explosive, less dynamic, less physical player. 6 for 80, 5 for 50. That's not too far off kind of expectations. Now, we really need those guys on an every other week basis to then have a touchdown, right? We need them both score 8 or 10 touchdowns. I don't know. This offense had Jalen Hurts throw it last night 33 times. That's the third time in 4 games. Third time in 4 games. I think he's thrown 32 passes. So he is passing the ball more of late, but they're ineffective they've been ineffective here the last couple of games at sustaining drives, and their offense has just kind of been flux. Dallas Goedert led the team with 11 targets, 9 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. That's Goddard's first game of 45 yards. I mean, for those of you that play Dallas Goedert, and here we go. We don't stream tight ends. You just roll with the guy. I have Dallas Goedert in the league. The only time I took him out of my lineup was when he got hurt. The rest of the time, he's back in the line. Hopefully, you just did that. Dallas Goedert being the number 1 weapon in this offense through the air is not going to work long-term for the Eagles. It's great to see him pop off and score touchdowns. He got 5 touchdowns here or whatever it is. It's great to see that, but they've got to get Brown and Smith more involved in the red zone. On the other side of things, let's talk Giants, who remarkably won this game 34-17. Jackson Dart still hasn't thrown for 205 yards. He threw for 195 last night, so he's still looking for a 205-yard game. However, he has run for 50 yards in each of his 3 starts. He has 2 rushing touchdowns in the 3 starts, and he has 6 overall touchdowns, I think. So he's done a very reasonable Justin Fields impersonation. And it's usable. It's workable. You'd like to see him with a bigger game when they score 34 points, right? But still, 2 touchdowns, ran for 50 yards. 50 yards 3 games in a row. And as we say this all the time, depending upon your scoring, a lot of leagues, it's 20 yards for a point passing. 50 rushing yards is equal to 100 passing yards in that scenario. So though he only threw for 195, it's like he threw for 295, right? So he's been very solid from a fantasy perspective. And, he's making plays behind a line that's not very good. He's using his legs. It's a really good start to his NFL career for Jackson Dart. On the ground, Cam Scattaboo scored 3 times, breaking tackles and all that. You have to feel confident. I think we had him as running back 20 this week, even in a difficult matchup. Carter being out last night certainly helped the Giants, but the fact is that Scattaboo, he's getting all the work. Tracy was back, only touched the ball 4 times. Devin Singletary, he played like 4-6 snaps. He was barely on the field. It's obviously Scattaboo's backfield. He's gone 2 catches, I think, in every game. He's had 6 catches in 2 of his last 4 games, but he's probably more likely to be catching 3 balls. Looks like, though, he's going to be touching it 15 plus times on the ground. So we're looking at one of those running backs going to touch it 18, 20 times a week and be the goal line back. So we'll continue to fire up Scattaboo as that running back 2. Passing attack wise, Wendell Robinson, 6 for 84 and a score. And before everyone gets all excited, because I know I said, I think yesterday, Wendell Robinson, you get him at 10 points. That was a great game for Wendell Robinson. Let's be very clear. His numbers overall are good, right? He's caught 5 passes in 4 or 5 games. In 4 of 6 games, he's caught 5 passes. He also has 2 massive games where he scored touchdowns. The previous 3 games to last night, where he went 684 and 1. The previous 3 games, he had 9 catches for 70 yards and no touchdowns. So 3 of 4 games, even including last night, 3 of 4 Wendell Robinson games have been under 9 PPR points. Is what it is with Wendell Robinson. But last night was a winning effort for him. Little Jordan Humphrey, did you have him as a number 2 wide receiver for the Giants? Yeah, he was. Insanity. We're not running the waiver wire to pick him up, but he was second on the team in catches and yardage, led the team in targets, tying his career high with 8 out of nowhere. And then finally, Theo Johnson, still, he's got 3 touchdowns in 3 games now. Had 2 catches for 27 yards last night. Still doesn't have 1 game, 0 games of 35 yards. 0 games of 35 yards. Guys don't score touchdowns every week. Look at the history of this game. It just doesn't happen. Tight ends don't score a touchdown a week. Makes sense that Johnson be more involved in this offense than 4 targets and 2 catches. But again, he has not hit 35 yards a single time this season for the Giants. We'll talk a little bit more football here in a couple minutes with Russell Clay. Before we get to that, you can see it there on the screen. There's a link. You can find it in the description below. A quick review. This is a free article. Everyone can go see it right now, whether you subscribe or not, at fantasyguru.com. Kind of wrapping up my look at the 2025 baseball season. A look at the top 50 in ADP in baseball. How did we do? I did the top 50 overall performers last week, so you can find that free article at fantasyguru.com. This week, it's looking back at the NFFC's ADP from March. How did that ADP end up at the end of the season? We'll quickly go through this list because, again, we're going to talk to Russell Clay in a couple minutes. Shohei Ohtani was 1 hit. Bobby Witt was 2. I'll call it a hit. He did lose 26 runs and 37 batting average points, though. So, Aaron Judge was a hit. Elly De La Cruz lost 30 steals. Still went 20-35, but I can't really call that a hit. Jose Ramirez hit. Juan Soto hit. Corbin Carroll hit. Kyle Tucker really good, but limited by injury, so nope. Gunnar Henderson, 30 steals, but lost 20 home runs. No. Vladimir Guerrero was good. Excellent in the playoffs. Hit 23 home runs. Didn't even get 85 RBIs. No. Tatis hit. Skeens hit. Lindor hit. Julio hit. Julio Rodriguez. Mookie Betts, no. Tariq Skubal hit. Jackson Chourio, I'm going to say no. He basically posted the exact same numbers he posted as a rookie. He still went 20-20, but he missed 30 games. So I'm going to say no. Chad Chisholm hit. Jarren Duran, nope. Bryce Harper, nope. Zach Wheeler was going to potentially win the Cy Young, but he only threw 149 innings. So I'm going to say that's a no. Trey Turner was solid. Led the L in average. Hit. William Contreras, nah. Jackson Merrill, no. Crochet, a hit. Austin Riley, no. Ketel Marte, hit. I think he led infielders in OPS, but a little bit. He pulled back from 2024. Freddie Freeman was solid, but no. Matt Olson was solid, but no. O'Neal Cruz was solid, but no. Manny Machado, fine hit. Ronald Acuna, no. Rafael Devers, I'll call it a hit, but he batted .250. Corbin Burns, no. Chris Sale, lost 9 starts, no. Pete Alonso hit. Michael Harris, 2020, but given the cost, he did not hit. Corey Seager, no. Cole Reagans, no. Emmanuel Clase, no. CJ Abrams, 2030, he was 1 home run away from a second straight 2030, so I'll say hit, but really tight. Dylan Cease, no. James Wood hit. Teoscar Hernandez, no. Devin Williams, no. Blake Snell, no. Josh Hader, no. So we didn't do so good. And the truth of the matter is that when you do this on a yearly basis, and I always look back at this at the end of the year, the fact is that this is how it always goes. We don't do as good a job as we think we did, ever. The ADP is not always right. We're seeing it in football right now, right? How bad is the football right now? Let's pull that up real quick. I didn't even think of that. I probably should have done that, right? I have an idea of what you're trying to do here. Let's NFFC's ADP. Let's pull it up real quickly. Let's look at the top 2 rounds just as a guess. Chase has been okay, but disappointing. Bijan's been great. Gibbs has been okay. Barkley's disappointing. Lamb's disappointing. Jefferson's been fine. Neighbors is hurt. St. Brown has been fantastic. McCaffrey's been fantastic. Genty's been okay. Hasn't lived up to his cost. Brian Thomas, no. Nico Collins, no. Derrick Henry, no. Puka Nacua has been fantastic. London's been fine. Achan's been fine. Bowers, no. Irvin's now hurt, but he's been fine. Chase Brown, no. Jonathan Taylor, yes. Josh Jacobs, yes. A.J. Brown, no. Ladd McConkey, no. Lamar Jackson's hurt. Trey McBride, no. Kyron Williams, no. Yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba, yes. T. Higgins, no. Garrett Wilson, yes. Burrow, no. Hill, no. Harrison, no. Daniels, no. So it's not just baseball. It's not just football. This is how it goes. And it's why I say all the time, if you have a strong lean for a player, if you have a strong belief in a player, and you want to take player 9 at pick 2, go for it. You don't take player 39 at pick 2, right? Because that you can get him in the second round. But if you want to take player 11 at 6, do it. If you want to take player 18 at 12, do it, right? Because the fact is, ADP is just what the normal person does. Doesn't mean it's going to be right. And most of the time, I would say without pulling the data up, 50-50. You have a 50-50 chance of a top 50 pick being a top 50 player. And I say that, and I know it's not true because I do the review every year of the top 15 picks. On a yearly basis, the top 15 picks, we get about 3 guys returning top 15 value. 3 or 4 is just the norm, right? We're at like 37% top 15 picks in baseball, and the year is a top 15 performer. So clearly we're not getting 50 out of the top 50. It's not happening. Remember that next time you're thinking about doing something on draft day in whatever sport you're playing, because they're all that way. Looking at some updates here, Kyler Murray's status for week 6 will be determined in the next coming day. Now, his foot is so bad, they don't even know if he's going to play. I have no idea what's going on there. Justin Fields has been removed from the injury report. He's going to be fine and play this weekend. That's good news. Lamar Jackson not practicing today. He is not unlikely to play this weekend. The NFL has announced that it initiated a review for the concussion protocol last night for Jackson Dart. We all know that. Okay. We'll see. They're going to review, though, the process, I guess. Maybe sped through it too quickly. Breece Hall says he wants to be there. He doesn't want to get traded for the Jets. And then I see a couple comments here. Angelo, I think someone else mentioned it earlier too. Chris Godwin is not expected to play in week 6 against the 49ers with the fibula injury. Now, the fibula, that's his leg. That's been what he's dealt with anyway. That's been his thing here. So we need more information. This news is just coming down. I'm on the show with you all, so I don't have the ability to dive into this. But what I'm seeing is he's being listed as doubtful. Players that are listed as doubtful don't play. So don't expect that situation to change. It's like a 3%. If you're listed doubtful, historically speaking, it's like 3%. You just don't play. So he's not going to play this week. And now we have to wonder what the future looks like with him. Michael Evans is still kind of quiet there with Mike Evans. We'll see, but things are not looking up right now for the passing attack there, despite the fact that Baker Mayfield gets 2 touchdowns every week and Emeka Ibuka is the early season rookie of the year. Okay. It's halfway through the show. It's a Friday. I've rambled on and on. I've complained a lot today already. That's, I guess, my want here. Let's bring in the guy that doesn't complain. Let's bring in the guy that smiles and is always happy and helps to counterbalance my negativity. Doesn't it seem like every guest we have does that? Yeah, maybe that's the case. I don't know. But it's a Friday, 12:30 Standard Time. We bring in Russell J. Clay of fantasyguru.com. He is our dynasty expert over at FG. He handles the rankings over there, updates them on a weekly basis. He does a TikTok video where he does it with all of you and kind of get your thoughts, and then basically dismisses all of them and just does what he wants anyway. He's on live streams. He's involved sometimes with college football. He's in Discord all the time answering questions, writing articles, all that kind of good stuff. So let's bring him in now. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. How you doing, Russ?
What's going on, Ray? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm trying to lower the old temperature. Getting a little frustrated here. I don't know if you caught the start of the show. We talked about creating a depth chart and just give you a chance to kind of give your thoughts. I applaud all our users at fantasyguru.com for building great teams. But what I am seeing over and over again on a consistent basis now is all of these questions from people where they have 4 top 20 guys and they want to bench. Which top 20 guy do I bench? Right. And I use the example. Someone sent me a question in Discord. London, Tedero McMillan, Sutton, or AJ Brown. Which one do I sit? And then the follow-up comment from the user was, I get it wrong every week. Yeah, you get it wrong every week because they're all guys you should start every week. What is your advice to people that have an overabundance of players, that have all these great weapons, and they don't know who to start each week?
My statement is, and I've determined this over the last couple of weeks,
Me too.
where I'm watching all this, right? And we are on the other side of the thing. We are the content creators. But we're also players as well. And I've also been in the situation that you're describing. And it just makes you pissed off because you know you're going to get it wrong, even if you don't most weeks, right? But even if you're off by a point, right? Let's say, Cortland Sutton gets 15 and Garrett Wilson gets 14 and you started Wilson and it's like, all right, well, I got it wrong, quote unquote. And it's like, we need a state of the union, Ray, on fantasy football and how we do this. Because it's clear there are just some formats that do not work in 2025. That did work. I don't remember getting so pissed off in 2010 about lineup stuff. And now it's like everywhere I go, I can feel the anger on Sunday mornings of like, people are already expecting to get it wrong. So I don't have a perfect answer for this, Ray, but I do know for us it sucks because there's no real lane we can go where we're like 100% confident.
Right.
And then there's no real lane for the people in these leagues. Because it's within 1.5 points in projection and what we think. So we have to look at formats. You have to have extra bench spots. You have to have extra flex spots. It's going to have to come with the format and not getting better at start sits. Because I think that is the push everyone's trying to make, getting better at start sits. And I do not think that's the answer. I think it's deeper starting lineups, different formats, best ball, weekly winners, weekly high scores, and just editing the formats to fit 2025. So that's my long rant on all this. I'm curious what you think, because I feel like there is a state of the union needed. I don't think the 10-team 7 starters works anymore. I think it infuriates people to a degree that we should outlaw it, Ray.
I would encourage you to rewind the show and listen. I went on a rant for about 10 minutes here earlier in the show. Basically, and I said it straight up, if you're in a 2 wide receiver league, you're an unserious person. You're just unserious because it doesn't take anything to play a top 20 wide receiver. And everyone in a 10-team 2 wide receiver league, everyone's got Pro Bowlers. Like it's just so.
Or accept that week 1 and just know that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah. And I said, set a depth chart, choose these 2 wide receivers and just play them. and never take him out of your lineup because they're trying to play the matchup like you're talking about, the +1 here, the -1.2 there, doesn't work. At the end of the day, if you just played the first guy, you probably end up 10 points better than if you tried to mix and match the whole time. So I don't know. I'm glad you kind of agree. And I think in sentiment you basically did. He's Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. I'll get off my soapbox. You were just starting to climb up. I'll stop you before you get on yours to save you so you don't become me. Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
We just got a report this morning that, we'll find out. We'll see. Who was it? John Gannon was like, well, we don't know what his status is going to be. We'll find out in the next couple of days because of the foot. I don't know. I'm sure they know what's happening. It's probably he's playing and everything like that. But where are we at with Kyler Murray? I mean, I've said my piece forever. And to be clear, I've never been wrong. The thing I said day one he got drafted has been correct the whole time. Him being quarterback 12 at the end of the season, it's always correct. This, though, I think is kind of a breaking point for people. He gets hit in the face with a snap. He doesn't even bother to try to recover the football. You can see him like do it. There's like a brief little, and then he's like, no. Like he's just not even attempting to, he's not getting involved. Now it's his foot. If you got Kyler Murray, what are you doing?
In redraft, he's a solid option. Is what he is. And last week he was on pace for a 20-point fantasy day. So he's a good play in good matchups. My statement is, dynasty-wise, it's year 7. The Cardinals season is careening towards the dumpster, towards just absolute nothing again. Cardinals fans, I haven't talked to many. I don't think there are many left after the Kyler Murray era.
Right.
But it's over. I mean, they're done. Like Kyler's done with this.
Gannon's going to get fired.
I feel bad for Gannon because I do think he's a good coach. Well, I don't feel bad for him after the DeMercado thing, but it's over. And Gannon's first attempt at head coaching is over. And I think that's why we saw part of that emotional response, because he's like, we cannot lose this game. That my coaching life's on the line. So it's year 7, 1 playoff game, and they lost by 30. And are we on to year 8 with him as their starting quarterback with no good results? I don't know. If we're going to be hard on Trevor, we're going to be hard on all these other guys. I think it's got to be pretty much done here and moving on to a new quarterback by next season.
So we're about 37 and a half minutes in. I want to, so when you can tell people when they ask Russ, 37 and a half minutes into the show today, I asked you about the Chargers backfield. We've all talked about it here on the show. We've all given our opinions on the show. I'd like to hear your opinion. Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, yes, no, both. Like, what are your expectations? Who would you rather have grabbed, even though waivers have run now for everybody? Who do you want on your team? Give it to us.
Okay. Strip away fantasy football for a sec. Strip away everything. Okay. Strip away.
Except your clothes.
Yeah, except your clothes. Keep those on. It would be fun if Kamani Vidal was good and like a good receiving down back and all the fun. And it would not be fun if Hassan Haskins is getting 13 carries for 65 yards and no touchdowns. So I'm rooting for Vidal. I don't have any expectations for this. I'm in the Vidal camp. If you're picking him up and you picked him up this week, I'd roll with that. But yeah, if it's Haskins, it's not going to be fun. If it's Vidal, it has a chance to be fun. So as a football fan, I'm going to the lane that says, let's root for the thing that could be fun. But fantasy wise, I'm just so bummed about Hampton, man. That is really my big takeaway. I had a league winner locked and loaded. I suffered through the early weeks of pain and misery and everyone telling me he sucked. And then I got my league winner for 2 weeks, and now it's just it fell through my hands, Ray. These hands, these small non-construction hands. No Omari and Hampton for me until at least week 10. So I'm just bummed. That's where I haven't moved on yet. Everyone else has moved on. I'm still back in high school thinking about my first love of Omarian. So that's where I'm at.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. You can also find him on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio on Sunday nights with Justin Fensterman. That's 6 to 9 Eastern, correct, Russell? 6 to 9 Eastern?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 6 to 9 Eastern on Sirius XM. Let's talk about a guy who was drafted to be a team leader, not a league winner, but a team leader who has been atrocious. Chase Brown. Obviously, quarterback concerns, offensive line concerns, offensive scheme concerns. All these things are happening. Make the big move, splashy move to get Joe Flacco this week. Does that change the offense enough? The inclusion of Flacco that now we're feeling a little bit better about Chase Brown? Or is it still going to be 11 carries for 41 yards of offense with 3 catches? Like I started saying that, and I realized I shouldn't be saying 11 carries for 41 yards. That's a pipe dream. It's 11 carries for 26 yards. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's averaging 2.5 yards a touch. So it's 15 touches for 49 yards a week or whatever the hell it is. Is it get any better with Flacco?
Ah, man. Yeah, I'd be happy with 11 for 41 at this point, right? Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
I just want to be like, it's not your fault to the Chase Brown fantasy owners. I mean, maybe he wasn't as good as I thought coming into the year, but 2.5 yards per carry is not a Chase Brown issue. That's a offense issue. Right. This is a team game, and generally you see everyone in the 3.4 to 4 point whatever range. If you're in 2.5, that means that offensive line is getting roasted every play. So I don't know. I saw someone with a tweet about when Joe, like, they have a meme. It's when Joe Flacco takes his first snap, and it's just everyone screaming and going, "Oh no!" So it's not going to be better with Joe Flacco under center, but maybe it will be better for fantasy, where he's dumping it off more, getting it to the guys more, running the offense a little better than Browning. It's just a really bad situation without Burrow. So I don't think it's going to get much better, but I also don't know how to sit him because he got 7 catches last week. So even if it's ugly, if he gets 1 touchdown and 5 catches, you're kind of all right for the week.
To Russ's point, he's averaging 2.5 yards a carry. His yards after contact is 2.0.
Unbelievable.
So he's getting hit at the line of scrimmage every time. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Xavier Worthy catches 5 passes every week. Yeah. Some weeks it's 47 yards. Some weeks it's 80 yards and a touchdown. We got Rashee Rice missing 1 more game, and then he's back. Okay. Who is Xavier Worthy this season? I'm not going to say you're going to start him this week. Okay. Who is he this season? Is he a wide receiver 3? Is he a wide receiver 4 when Rice is back? Like, where is he a 2? Am I mischaracterizing this? Who is Xavier Worthy?
I had a friend growing up that will remain nameless, and he was always on the sports teams with us. And about 3 times every year, he'd just get hurt, and he was the guy who always got hurt. And he was a good player, but we knew 3 to 5 times a year he was going to be on the field getting carried off, and then he'd be fine the next week. That's Xavier Worthy. He's running around with bandages. He's looking like an old soldier out there. I think he's a fantastic talent. I know everyone likes Rashee Rice. I think Worthy's much more talented than Rashee Rice. And they use him as such. So I'm starting Worthy pretty much every week he's out there. Okay. This Chiefs offense looks pretty good. I know they lost to the Jags, but that was because Devin Lloyd turned into a superhero on a pick 6. That wasn't, the offense looked really good against the good Jags defense. So I think Worthy's an every week starter, at least wide receiver 3, but I know there are some people that are still hesitant on that.
Some people have him as wide receiver 5. I've seen the questions. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Marvin Harrison, let's go back to the Cardinals era. Your Arizona Cardinals, because that's where you live, Arizona. I love it, and we saw this week. After the game, the coaching staff says, we should have gotten the ball more. No shit, Sherlock. Like, this is not complicated. Greg Dortch is 4'3", and Michael Wilson's just a guy. Why are we not getting 10 targets a week to Harrison? Stop throwing all these 4-yard passes to Trey McBride and having him get tackled. The only chance this offense has, the only chance they have is to open this up. And I'm not saying Marvin Harrison's without blame. He's dropped passes. Okay. Who is he the rest of the way? Is this it? Like, is this another one of these guys? It's too early to judge. We're only a year and a half into his career. Is this the calls? Is this the coach? Is this the quarterback? Is this him? Did we all miss it? Like 2 years ago from this day, this guy was going to be the next Jamar Chase. Now he's barely startable. Like, what's going on?
Okay. So he is averaging 61 yards per game. That is 10 more yards, 9 and change more than last year. He's on pace for over 1,000 yards, which is about 200 more than last year. And we're still pissed about it, myself included. And this is the problem sometimes with expectations, and the problem that Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson caused for us, which is early career expectations. Right. He's just not going to match Jamar Chase at all. It's not even close. And by year 3, 4, 5, I do think he's going to continue to develop. And when he gets a quarterback in there who's just going to fire it at him 10 times a game, I mean, look at Matt Stafford, right? Seems like every wide receiver that goes there turns into a 1,500 plus yard a year receiver, whether it's Puka, Cooper, Calvin, Golden Tate, all these guys. He doesn't have that guy right now, and he had 90 yards on 5 targets. So it is what it is. Unfortunately for myself and others who are invested in this guy, this is what the production is. So I just start him every week. Most weeks I'm pissed. Some weeks, last week I wasn't pissed. I was just annoyed. So that's what you deal with as a Marvin Harrison fantasy owner. You're just between pissed and all right, fine.
He was 18 inches away from making us all really happy too on that long catch. But
yeah,
Russell Clay of FantasyGuru.com. Let's go back to the Bengals. We talked about their terrible offense. We talked about the addition of Joe Flacco. T. Higgins, you gonna wake up or see a skeleton because it's October? Like, T. Higgins is stealing money. Dude is stealing and doing nothing. And a lot of people were very vocal about the choice to sign T. Higgins to this huge contract. Was that what the team needed? Clearly, that's not what the team needed. Yoshavash could have been bumped up to a 2. They could have signed a veteran. What we've seen thus far wouldn't have been any different. Now, I'm not saying that Higgins isn't more talented or all that kind of stuff, and it's not even about did they waste the money because it's been spent. Who is Higgins moving forward? Because Higgins right now is scoring 7 points a game in the PPR stuff. He's doing nothing. Does it change with Flacco?
Okay, here's my thing with T. Higgins. The problem with T. Higgins, again, expectations. We're in what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in year 6 of T. Higgins. Never had over 1,100 yards in any of those seasons, but for some reason is viewed as an elite receiver.
Right.
I mean, we're in year 6. It's not Marvin Harrison in year 2.
Right.
He's had some good years. He's a good talent. He's always been a really fantastic deep threat, but I've never thought of him as an elite guy. He got paid as an elite guy.
Yep.
And in fantasy every year we have to draft him in round 2 or 3. I've never past the second, third season. I've just never really been that interested in the value there. So it's been a crap year, but I feel like it's been not a fun career. Fantasy.
They're going to say crap career.
Yeah, it hasn't been a crap career, Ray, but
right.
It feels that way. Why does it feel that way most of the time with this guy, even though he's good? Yeah, I don't know. I
hope we don't end up in year 6 feeling the same way about Marvin Harrison. Like you said.
Let me tell you, if he keeps going like this, I'm going to be really not happy with Marv for sure.
What do you think about Trey Sermon behind me there on the green screen? Look at that.
I didn't know who that was. I got to be honest with you.
It's Trey Sermon. Look at that. There's no way that tackle's bringing him down. Look at that.
That is some obscure. That's about as obscure as it gets.
Got to get random. Russ Clay at FantasyGuru.com. Nico Collins 2 years ago, 5 catches, 87 yards. Last year, 6 catches, 85 yards. This year, 4 catches, 62 yards. There's been moments, and obviously last time out, CJ Stroud, big game. Start of things to come, or is Nico Collins somebody that was overdrafted this year?
He's I'm not giving up yet.
Okay.
I thought he's looked good in his opportunities. He's not getting the same volume. He is getting usage in the red zone, and he does look like Nico Collins still. So I think he's going to be all right. I don't know if it's been a frustrating year, but I guess in terms of expectations, like you're mentioning, a little Marvy, but 3 touchdowns, been over 50 yards each of the last 4 games. So I'm not feeling bad for Nico Collins owners quite yet. You guys are all right. You're all right.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Tight end spot yesterday, episode 504. I spent 10 minutes rambling on State of the Union, if you will, on the tight end position. And I basically laid out the case, which I've been told yesterday, at least. The early part of the week, I was getting all the questions I've been getting about the backup running back. So we switched from the which backup running back to own to this week, which tight end to own. So we have guys popping off last week, guys scoring touchdowns, some guys underperforming, some guys getting hurt, quarterback changes, all this kind of stuff. And I basically said the following. I said, whoever your tight end is going to be, like if you're going to go make the move to Theo Johnson, who didn't do anything again last night, he still hasn't had 35 yards in a game this season. If you're going to make the move to Theo Johnson, you just put Theo Johnson in your lineup and you just let it go. You don't add Theo Johnson for a week and then drop him and pick up Fannin and then drop him and then pick up Juwan Johnson and then drop him, et cetera, et cetera. Do you agree with that? Picking somebody and just letting it go, even if Mark Andrews I have Mark Andrews in the league, never dropped him. I have David Njoku in the league, never dropped him. How are you handling the tight end position if you don't have one of just a couple of guys? Because it's been one of those seasons where, again, everyone's kind of the same. Do you agree with me choosing one guy and letting it go? Or do you disagree with me and think it's okay to stream tight ends?
You got to do what you got to do, but it is certainly not fun at all to stream tight end this year. Hopefully you got a guy like Dallas Goedert, or you got a guy like Jake Ferguson. That's what we're looking for. And again, I am looking to make things as simple as possible, win or lose. And that's where I'm kind of at with start sits. So sifting through a bunch of guys who are going to get 5 points doesn't sound very fun to me. So that's how I'm looking at it. If you are starting someone who's getting you 5 points a week, you're already not happy. And then you're making it way more complicated by sifting through 7 guys who are going to get you 5 points. And one inevitably is going to go off that week. And then you're going to be pissed you didn't start that guy because you were thinking about starting him, but you didn't. So do you guys see what I'm talking about here with like, you're leveling up your pissed offness. If you have a guy in there right now that you're relatively confident in, I would roll with that guy for a few weeks. If you have a guy like Hunter Henry, I'm just firing Hunter Henry. He's looked good. So between Henry, Goddard, Ferguson, like that's a lot of guys we've gotten off the wire so far this year. And it turns from streamer to every week starter, and I'm not flinching. So those 3 I'm every week starting. And then you got a bunch of other guys. Like if Brock's playing, I'm not start sitting him at all. Right. And there's a few other guys like that. So that's my statement. Just roll with the guys.
What about Tucker Kraft? And I asked that because I was talking about tight ends yesterday on the show here. And if you look at on a per game basis of all the tight ends that have played at least 3 games, Tucker Kraft is number 5 in a PPR setup in points per game. Okay, he's number 5. That number is 12.7. Tucker Kraft has played 4 games and he's had 12.7 points one time. Once. He's number 5 at the position in average points a game, and he's hit his average points per game once. Where are we at with Tucker Kraft? Everyone loves Tucker Kraft and thinks he's the next Brock Bowers, which I don't understand because the numbers don't say that. The consistency doesn't say that. The uncertainty with the passing attack, who at some point in the very near future gets Christian Watson back to make it even more complicated. Where are we at with Tucker Kraft?
Okay. That's another guy I'm firing every week. I've seen enough.
Yep.
The results, like you mentioned, haven't been there, especially after that injury. They've been conservative with his usage. With that said, we don't know when they're going to ramp that back up again to featured. So he had that featured week, and I believe he got hurt in that game. So we've only seen one game of how they envision the role for him. I do think he's good, and I do think they want him to be a big part of that offense. So I'm firing with him, and I'm not start sitting Tucker Kraft. I'm going with him every week again. So there's 4. So if we're in a 10-team league, well, plus Bowers, that's 5.
Did you say McBride?
Trey McBride, that's 6. So those are 6 guys I'm not even thinking about streaming. Laporta every week. So there's 7. Okay. So we have 7 guys right now that you are free to go from start sits. And I don't need to have tight end 1. I just want to be free from the start sit pain. Right. And that's, so there we go.
Same thing I said with the streaming thing. I just don't want to deal with that. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Most important question of the day is on the screen right now.
Oh,
kicker
baby.
Question. I'm in only one league that even uses kickers anymore. I would encourage everyone to remove themselves from kicker leagues because they're ridiculous. Doug Bug lost Schrader, which is a huge loss. He's done for the season. So his question is, Cardi of the Rams or Badgley, who is signed to replace Schrader? Do you have a preference? Do you care? What do you look at with kickers? I often tell people, get a kicker on a good offense that plays indoors and has a late bye week. When the bye week comes, you just drop them and grab somebody else. I don't care. I'm never carrying 2 kickers. That's how I generally play it. Do you have a preference here? Any advice to give Doug?
Doug, I'm going to tell you what I do.
Okay.
Number 1, for kicker stuff, I scroll over to fantasyguru.com. I sign in. I mistype the password twice, and then I get worried I'm going to get locked out.
Right, I've done that.
And then I have to send the email to reset my password. Then I log in. I go to rankings. I go to kickers, and I say, okay, this is what Jeff thinks. I'm going to probably roll with that for kickers. In this situation, Cardi's pretty solid option on that Rams team. And they have a pretty good matchup against that Ravens team this week. So I'd probably do that. And Ray, I'll agree with you on the kickers thing, but there's something about it that I still love. So I do kicker props. I don't win most of them, but I still have fun with the kicker points props. I don't know. It's maybe because it's when I started 20 years ago with the kicker stuff that I still have fun firing away with it. But I would go with Cardi. Oh, Angelo says there's wicked weather. Wicked weather, like there's going to be a witch on the field, Angelo?
Something wicked this way comes. That's on Amazon right now, I think. I don't. By the way, I just totally lost my train of thought with that thought. Mike Horn. If you really, I will say this, Mike Horn, who writes the kicker articles for us at fantasyguru.com, I've never seen better kicker analysis.
There you go.
So, I mean, honestly, if you're looking, Doug or anybody else, to really get an edge, you're not going to find a better actual analysis of it than, Russ and I joking around, an actual real analysis of it than Mike Horn does in his articles. So I would strongly encourage people to check that out. Robin T has got a question at the wide receiver spot. Alec Pierce, who looks like he's going to play this week, returning from a head injury, or Malik Washington. We can't, any other deep plays. We don't know, Robin, who's on your waiver wire. It's impossible for us to answer that part. So we have to stick with the question. Pierce or Washington? Pierce is very likely to have less catches than Washington, and he's 100% certain to have more yards than Washington. So, I mean, again, it matters here, Robin, as well as at PPR or not. But give an answer to Robin with this one: Alec Pierce and Malik Washington.
Okay. We're at the casino with Malik Washington. We're down. We've lost all of it, but our buddy just handed us $50. We're firing again with Malik Washington, but it was ugly last week. So I wouldn't make anyone start Malik again. But what I will tell you is he is the only guy who can replace the Tyreek Hill stuff. So I would continue to use Malik Washington. I know last week was ugly, but again, this is a process over results thing. I mean, I could be just wrong. So we got to lean with our read here anyway. He did have 5 targets, which was a season high for him last week. And again, the no rushing attempts signals they're going to try to use him as a receiver more often. So that's what I see.
I'm channeling my Russell Clay on my Coffin Corner piece every Friday at fantasyguru.com. And it went up this morning. So for those of you that are members there, you can read it. If you're not a member, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner or send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. You can sign up for seasonal football, DFS football, wagering football. You can sign up for basketball. You can sign up for NHL, NASCAR, on and on and on. Horse racing, soccer. We got it all over at FG. Here's one of the numbers from that Coffin Corner piece that just went up. 155.3. 155.3. That is Malik Washington's league-leading mark in percentage of yards gained after the catch. Wait, what? Yes. He has 47 receiving yards with 73 yards after the catch. They throw him the ball behind the line of scrimmage all the time. He had 4 catches last week for 8 yards. He had 4 catches for 0 yards last week, 4 for 0, and one of his catches was an 8-yard catch, which is impossible.
That is impossible.
He had 4 catches, and in a non-PPR league, he got you 0 points. Impossible. I don't know why they can't. Do you know why they can't throw him the ball beyond the line of scrimmage? Like, you can't throw the ball. You got to do, come on, man. Like, you're already doing that with Achane. Like, your deep threat's Darren Waller. Like, what's going on?
I don't know what's going on, but I know it's not good, Ray. It's certainly not how I want my suggestions to go, but here we are.
Who's calling those plays? I don't get it. I don't get it. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. He joins us every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We go about a half hour. As noted, he's on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio on Sunday nights with Justin Fensterman, who you can see here on the show on Wednesdays. Justin and Russ, 6 to 9 Sunday nights, reviewing all the game action of the week. He's with us every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. He's almost always on the live stream on Tuesday nights, hosting that thing at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. He also does his TikTok Dynasty discussion when and where, I guess on TikTok, but what time, Russ?
Wednesday afternoons. So stay lurking. And we go live Wednesday afternoons. When everything is quiet and settled for the day, we go live. And it's pretty fun.
Find him on Twitter X at Russell J. Clay as well. Russ, as always, thanks for your positivity, your smiles, your advice, your analysis, and we will do it again a week from today. How about that?
Awesome. Thanks, Ray.
You got it. For Russ, I'm Ray. We'll be back here on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Remember, listen to the Elite Sports Show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern with Jeff Manns. I'm with him every Wednesday there. I'm with you 4 days a week here. And on Wednesdays here is Justin Fensterman, who does host that Sunday night show with Russ on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. For Russ, I'm Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.